chairs randomly talking, because how am I to know that's not God?
Sound speeds.
Oh, dang.
Hey,
What's up?
welcome to Backsliders. We're here today with our friend Caleb Zlomke.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Zlomke.
I did practice.
Did I do it?
A couple times.
A couple of times.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think
Cool.
so.
What's your middle name?
Joel.
Joel.
Yeah.
Is that a book in the Bible?
Yes.
Is it a good book?
Is it
I don't
biblical?
know.
Is it a biblical name?
It's been a long time since I've read any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a biblical name, though. Caleb and Joel.
That's
both are
true. Yeah.
The things. Zlomke, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't
from
realize
everywhere.
Caleb was a biblical name.
Yeah, he was a spy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
A spy for God.
Or against God.
I mean, kind of. There's like some giants, and he went into this area. And he like scouted the area, and then they murdered everyone there. So I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, that story.
Not entirely sure.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Could be
I
for God,
love a
question
good
mark.
God murdering for God story.
Yeah, right.
It's interesting. There's a lot of them.
There's a few of them.
Micah's name is from the Bible.
Yeah.
Yes, Micah is from the Bible, and Craig is from a cult.
Also, Michael Craig. That's a good name, though.
Yeah, I like it. I
solid.
almost decided to drop the last name, but then I felt like I would disappoint my father.
Sudeth?
Yeah,
It's hard to say.
yeah, it is.
Does it have like a silent T or something in there?
Sudeth. It's pretty phonetically accurate. Just still butchered every time it's said.
For me, it's hard because I had a lisp that still comes out sometimes. So that s and the th are both hard for me. And now my last name is Sudeth.
Yeah.
So
I think most people usually mispronounce it saying Seduth,
yeah, so do.
which is interesting because they
Seduth.
just said the and then they're like, no, not this time. Ooh.
Like, I give up. That's fine. Just start with the S and then just let it roll from there.
Right. Yeah.
Do you have siblings, Caleb?
Yeah, I've got 2 older brothers and a younger adopted sister.
Are they named after the Bible?
No?
Are you the only one?
Yes. I think so. Well, Ethan Tyler is my brother. Mm-hmm. Trevor is my other brother. Yeah, well, Aaron. His
Aaron
middle name
is, yeah.
So Aaron's in the Bible, I think.
Ethan almost sounds biblical.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Ethan? It kind of does. I was wondering.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't either.
It has been a long time since I've read most of
Books.
those books.
Yeah. Because
that-
you're.
So were you steeped in a Christian environment?
Yeah, I was born into Evangelical free, which I think is like what you would call most humans that call themselves Christians in the U.S. And then I kind of grew up through going to church through that whole thing, and then
Would you say it's like a non-denominational kind of?
they'll try to be be within that doctrine or whatever, and then all the weird little subsets of that doctrine, and I don't understand why anybody's divided over any of that stuff. But,
Right. Yeah.
but apparently it's important.
Arminian and Calvinist kind of stuff.
Yeah. So they're all kind of like, they're like get along, but not enough to be like, we're part of that. So it's just evangelical free is like a bunch of different things slammed into one thing.
I've never heard of evangelical free.
Yeah, me neither, actually.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, I want to look it up and learn more about it.
I should know what the actual like doctrine was at some point, because it's what I was for like.
Like what separated it.
What does this say?
Well, isn't it
3
like-
sentences?
Because my parents definitely, they were Bible-believing Christians, but they definitely had things that they felt separated them from
Sure.
mainstream Christianity and
Sure.
and why I shouldn't go to a Baptist church and why I should. I mean, they never
baptize
prevented.
you.
Yeah, but
get you
they
back.
didn't prevent me, and I guess they were open to me going to other churches. And when I came home and was like, I'm going to get baptized at this Baptist church, they were like, that's fine, but it
don't
doesn't
need to
change
do that.
anything. Yeah, they're like, that's nonsense, but have fun.
Yeah.
On their water bill.
Come on back.
I think that's what's really fascinating about Christianity, specifically because all of the different sects of it, really all that separates them is like they believe that they interpreted the Bible right.
Yeah.
And it's like all these like minor like logistical beliefs that separate, but like really Jesus was just like, hey, love each other and like stop getting caught up on all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I took from
You
his
got to
story.
create exclusivity to keep people in seats and
sell
not going to
things.
the church or out down the street.
Yeah.
You got to keep them better than their friend and their neighbor.
It's true.
It's so sad, you know?
Yeah.
Just teaching like separateness.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. Or like division over something that literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But not even
Well,
by
then
their
you
own
don't
thing.
really believe.
Shoot. I tried.
So your parents brought you up in this free evangelical or evangelical free?
Evangelical free, I think, is
But you still had to tithe, right?
yeah.
So it wasn't totally free.
I didn't take that as the.
It was a suggested 10%. Does that count? You're like, how much? 10%. Circle that.
Evangelical free. Yeah, so I guess were they trying to delineate themselves as like, we're a little bit more open-minded
Yeah, I think so.
because we're free to think.
I think so, because like, well, my experience growing up with the church was my parents were very, very much they allowed us to explore, I guess. So they would encourage us to ask questions, which would get me in trouble a lot in a church setting. But they
were like,
us,
go to children's church, but
go
like
ask those
you
questions.
give that pastor a run for their money.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well,
And
I
you
mean,
did.
and I did.
I'm not giving
I did,
10% for
yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, you're like, we're gonna get it all figured out, this whole life thing.
Yeah.
But that was so they always encourage us to ask questions and to be our own people and stuff, which I really appreciate. And there was still those like boundaries
awesome.
of like parents just telling you what to do, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna do that because you're a lot bigger than I am.
Right.
But, so there's that, but for the most part, they encourage us to ask questions and be what it is that we're gonna be and all that kind of thing.
They sound great.
Yeah, were they very open-minded, or did they were like, I want you to go on your own journey, but I hope you land where I landed, or like,
I think
I don't know where I landed, and I just know that you should explore this thing.
Yeah. No, I think the hope was like there's a passage that I remember they were like just places. I don't even remember the gist of it. So I'm just gonna paraphrase it and butcher it.
That's
But
fine.
it's
That's American of you.
nailed it. Trust me, it's in there. But it talks about like training up a child in the way that they shall go, and then
Yeah.
like
and
as
when they
get
are old, they will
older,
not part from it.
Yeah, see,
Oh, wow.
that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
See, with our two paraphrases combined.
Look at it.
We make almost a thing. but yeah, so that's I think was the hope, I guess. But
So you
But they
will
didn't.
eventually become a pastor.
yes, and neither of them were pastors, so I don't think that's like the way.
Right,
One of them was an
okay.
engineer, and the other one's all the things. But
What
there's
kind
that.
of questions did you have when you were a kid? Like specifically in the church environment?
well, it was kind of like church and school, so I like just questioned everything. But it was
Was the school Christian?
at times there were. I've been to every type of school for the most part, besides
Oh,
like
yeah, you
boarding
moved
school
around.
or military. But all the like kinds of schools I've been to. But yeah, I'm sorry. What was the question? I got confused.
I interrupted
What were
you.
the
that's
questions
fine.
I think
Yeah.
that you would maybe ask?
Oh,
that-
the questions. So
Yeah.
I would ask specifically about context questions. So I noticed there's a lot of times that somebody would use something to their own advantage, I guess, when it came to like if they were trying to explain how you should live or what you should be or who you should be as a person. But then they would use a bunch of passages that were just loosely connected to that. And they didn't actually like even within the time frame of when they pulled the passages, like if you go back into like the history that they just taught us in the Bible class, you'd be like, wait, that's not what that's saying. You can't just like grab a sentence that like kind of like supports what you're saying and just like say words around and be like, now believe this. I was like, I can do that with anything. I can do that
Right.
with like a Fruit Loops commercial right now. If I wanted
Get him out of
to.
here. Get him out of here now.
Usually it was I remember we had this chapel service that we would have to like all go into with like the tie and the like tucked in shirt and everything, and
Wow.
and the pastor would be up there doing the
preaching.
sermons every time. Yeah, doing the pastoring, doing the flocking, whatever that is. But
Sounds like a dance.
yeah,
Do the flag.
it's a good one. But the pastor would be up there doing his thing, and or the principal. He wasn't even. I don't think he was a pastor. I don't know what he was. He was a guy, but
He's a man with power.
Yeah, man of God.
yeah, he was that. But he would say things sometimes, and I would just stand up and like openly challenge it every now and then, depending on.
Stand up in
Oh, yeah.
chapel.
I'd be like, and we're gonna have a question, just right now. Like,
After
not
see me in the
question time. I was
office,
like, I think it is.
Caleb. Can you please wait till after the?
Oh, you
Yeah.
were so bold.
Kinda.
How many people were in the room when you would do that?
A few, like all
Hundreds?
of them. But it was like K. I think it was K through 6th grade, and then
And you were
K through 8th, and then the older kids were like on their own. So
And then
it
what
was,
grade
like-
were you in that you were like most on the feet?
That was like 5th or 6th grade, maybe a little bit older.
It's like 11, 12.
I think I went there after 5th grade, so it'd be probably 6th or 7th grade now that I think about it.
So you would stand up and declare your question, and would the pastor answer you, or would you get told to sit down?
I mean, sometimes you would tell me to sit down, but I would just like kind of power through a little bit. I lived in detention at that school. It might as well have been an elective. So I was there like
oh my gosh, I
Monday
wish I
or
could
Wednesdays
see
and Fridays,
this.
just like always there. When I'd like drop a pencil, they'd be like, wasting time. I was like, cool. I will see you in detention.
For dropping a pencil?
Yeah, well, I got labeled as like the bad kid because I asked the questions.
Yeah.
Oh,
Isn't
right.
that interesting?
Yeah.
But this is even more interesting to me is like you ended up going to a Christian like college, right?
Kinda. It was like a unaccredited like pastoring program, I guess. Well, pastoring, I don't know if we got ministry program. I guess.
Discipleship program.
Discipleship.
That's the one. Yeah. Classic word. Yeah.
Yeah, so how did you end up there? What led you there?
Well, my brother was going there. He kind of bounced around schools and things for a while, colleges and all that, and then he ended up in Trinity, which is in Chicago,
Question mark?
I think. But that's a Christian school, and then from there he found this program in Wisconsin area. So he was going to that for a few years, and I think he's 8 years. Yeah, 8 years older than I am. Mm-hmm. So he'd been there for I think 1 or 2 years, and I was graduating. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't particularly enjoy school.
I can
So-
understand why.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at that point, it was like public school, and then private school, and then charter school, and then college preparatory school, and then I was done finally. So I didn't want to do much more schooling, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with that, and I didn't like debt, so I avoided that by not going to school. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. So then I went out to kind of give the God thing another try in a situation that was people that seemed to actually be trying, I guess. So I went out there for that, and while trying in, I guess, the right ways. So like to my understanding, the entire doctrine of Jesus is to love God and love people, and that's pretty much it. So I was like, well, I can get behind that.
Right.
But
Right, that
Yeah.
sounds
all this other nonsense that
sounds
everybody
good.
adds to it, where you got to be like dunked 3 times and like say some sort of like weird all
Yeah.
the things. I'm like, I don't know about that, and it always felt really forced and like ritualistic and weird to me. So
Right.
And like conditional.
yeah, a little bit.
Like weird. Why would God be so petty about
Yeah.
this?
Why would he say right here that he's not conditional and then lay out a doctrine that is conditional? That seems strange to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Like if you're in a relationship,
yeah.
like, and this person like said they loved you unconditionally, but then gave you a list of all the things
Yeah.
you had to
By the way,
do.
here's some conditions. You're like, wait,
You're like, oh, this doesn't add up quite.
yeah.
But it sounds so you had a good experience at this school, this program,
The discipleship
the
program,
discipleship.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I mean, it had its moments, and there's people from like all different backgrounds and kind of religions, and
It wasn't all evangelical free.
it wasn't all evangelical free. So there was a lot of different people there just with different ideas. So it was really interesting to see. And they were,
Was that encouraged? Was it like
yeah.
the teachers were like, "Hey,
Tell
share with us how you were raised."
Yeah. Yeah. The way they would describe it is there was
Like they had
things-
shows like this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This is all we did. But they did like things that are prescribed and things that are described, and things that are prescribed are things that are like you pretty much just have to follow these things. These are like the basics, like probably don't murder anybody. That seems bad. So that's a prescription, whereas a description is things like there's only a few places where it says you have to be baptized, and that's questionable given time frame and all that stuff. So maybe baptism isn't really a thing at all. Or maybe it is.
Was
Doesn't
there
matter.
was there a emphasis at all on like baptism in the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, that kind of world?
There was, I think, introductions to those things. So
Yeah.
there was like, that's one of the things I liked about it, is because I've always been a person of possibilities, I guess. So even though I'm like, I got a crazy imagination, but even though I know that the world is like here, like I've got that world like just underneath, I'd like to believe that it's like there, that like one day I'll just be walking and there'll be like a weird portal to another dimension. I'll be like, this makes sense.
Like, it wouldn't
I'll just-
surprise you. It'd be like,
you're like, all right, then I'll
yeah,
just go
this
into
is
that
probably right.
thing. like this feels good and cold. Why is it cold?
Why is it so chilly in here?
I need a
I
sweater.
thought this would be more colorful. but I don't know. So with that stuff, I think they kind of introduced us to a lot of things, but not necessarily like forced those things, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it was more like
Or
these
necessarily
things.
even practice them in chapel or
No, it wasn't like let's go and like I don't know, babble for a while and maybe some like weird language will come out, which always seemed odd to me.
that's how I was raised.
Or somebody would like repeat like there when it did happen, there was people that would repeat like one consonant over and over again.
Of
And
course.
I was
yeah.
like, I hear what you're doing, and I like that you're feeling something. However, don't think you need the consonant. I'm
Right.
just saying.
It's really sharp.
It seems like it's not
Really
a
hurt in
word
the ear.
in any language. But
So you never got peer pressured into speaking in tongues?
I don't think so. I think there could have been pressure at some points, but I also don't really feel pressure that much most of the time.
It seems like you wouldn't give in.
Yeah,
You're
I'd be
the
like,
kid.
I'm gonna go to the back and just hang out with this free stimulant you get. Weird psychosomatic substance, by the way. It's strange. Weird that you're comfortable with that, but not other things. Just saying.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's a good point. Good point.
Legal.
Maybe the coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The coffee.
Well, you could be Mormon. They don't
It
drink
is true.
caffeine.
And they get a planet
No
when they die. That's
caffeine.
badass.
Yeah, that does sound cool.
I know. Can we mix a bunch of things? Can we just like choose your own adventure after
I
you die?
think people can believe whatever they want to believe. You want to plan it?
Yeah. Yes.
Write it.
Doesn't Scientology believe something about planets
Probably.
too?
Probably. I might be
I forgot.
paraphrasing a bunch of
Volcanoes.
Okay.
Wait, in a volcano? Like you exist in a volcano?
I
I
think
remember
we came-
humans in a volcano
We came out of volcanoes.
from this. Yeah.
I think like aliens came
documentary.
from. I mean, humans came from volcanoes.
That makes sense.
That's
Well,
just fact.
He had a great imagination. So yes, in fact, you can write a book.
You
Yeah.
could create
See?
your
Volcano
own
humans.
version of Scientology
Sweet.
or religion.
But it still wouldn't be true.
It's true. But it would make me a lot of money.
yeah,
there's
you
that.
could
Could, yeah.
convince a lot of people
It's true.
if you're good at convincing people.
Or if you're bad at it.
Yeah, you don't even have to be that good at it.
Don't even have to be
You do have to sprinkle in some things that do help people.
Yeah.
And make people feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hook ones. The ones that are like, we can help
Are you
improve your
sad?
life. Yeah. Success.
Well, we hug a lot here.
There's
so-
gold. I don't know why anyone ever wanted it, but now it's worth more, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's that. Prosperity, wealth and prosperity gospel. That one's funny to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all the rage right now, isn't it?
It's true.
I was reading this book, I forget what it's called, but this very cool, like progressive Lutheran pastor, her name's like Nadia. I'll look it up, but she was tasked with writing a book about watching 24 hours of what's it called, where it's just evangelical TV and they're all selling things.
Yeah.
What is it?
TB.
Is it like a certain
Televangelism?
network? Yeah,
TV
it's yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the people that blink all the time for reasons.
Yeah, and how they like
It's code.
It's disturbing.
It's code.
Yeah.
They're communicating.
well, they're like little puppets, right? I mean, they're I don't know. They don't seem like they're being genuine, and they're like manipulating people into giving money for whatever.
A little bit. And then after their
They're
seventh
selling.
private
They're
jet-
genuinely running a business
Yeah.
Yeah,
on the back of
Yeah.
religion.
it was
That seems
fascinating.
accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always funny to me with any religion though, where it's like we've got the secret to everything. All you need to do is give us $7,000 per seat, and we'll share
We'll
those
give you
secrets
the-
with you because we care about you so much.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny to me.
So,
Yeah.
what do you believe now?
I think I still land in the God category, and part of the reason is because no matter how I break things down, there's too many things that have too many patterns or too many things in nature even that like kind of line up and have to have like perfect symbiosis to even exist.
Right.
So it ends up being a lot of chicken or the egg kind of situations where you're like, well, if just straight evolution was a thing, I feel like you wouldn't be around. So maybe there was something at the beginning that was like,
Sure.
started everything and kept it going. But
It's
I
like
tend to- I tend to-
even if the Big Bang happened, what was
Yeah.
before the Big Bang?
Yeah. Yeah. And even that, like it seems like all life is kind of given this basic instruction of survive at all costs, which ends in some sort of weird balance, even if it's like that one organism is doing really, really well and kind of like just like dominating that whole area. It'll eventually just get to a cap where it's like, we have to like die, half of us, so that we can keep going, or that area can balance, or I don't know, that well, even the like atmosphere, the oxygen in the atmosphere stays the same level, like regardless of kind of all these crazy events that happen, which is a breathable level. But it's really nuts to me that with all the deforestation that we've done and all the carbon that we've spewed into like earth and everything else, like on a year where we hit the atmosphere hard with carbon, then there's just like these crazy little like phytoplankton, I think they're called, in the oceans that just explode and like make a ton of oxygen that year to like balance everything out. And you're like, how the heck do those little creatures know how to do that? It seems like they're like the only thing is to like survive at all costs, which means like work together as well, which so there's too many things that are like working together just for reasons so that all of it can keep going. And at any point you're just like want to stop and ask the chair like, hey, why are you still here? Like, what's in it for you, chair? I don't know. So I
don't know what's in it for the chair.
I have no idea.
And it won't answer us, so it's kind of rude.
I don't think it will, unless it just does.
But I get what you're saying.
It already is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
it is what?
Already answering.
Screaming.
Oh, that's deep.
On the inside.
Can you hear it?
No.
Okay. Just making sure.
Don't speak chair.
Yes.
That's interesting, though. Like, yeah, because what you're saying is basically there is like an intelligence going on that seems
a grand
like
design.
Higher.
Yeah.
But can it be defined? Like, would you be satisfied by anyone defining what that intelligence is to you?
I mean, I'm not satisfied with people defining a lot of things. So,
Clearly.
I think
you'd stand up and be like, question.
It seems like you said the opposite thing last year, and now you're saying this thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think.
Do you need to define it or understand anything?
I don't. I mean, I think I understand parts of it at times, but I don't think I need a definition around it. I will say, like, I really like Jesus as a human.
Yeah.
So,
but not as a God.
Well, I mean, even that I don't mind. It's like, why not?
I have a question.
How am I supposed to know?
And I don't know if you'll remember this, but did Jesus talk about hell?
Oh,
because in my memory,
I was talking to somebody today. I think they said he did.
In my memory, he didn't. In my memory, he was like love.
Well, that's your selective memory.
Is my memory selected? Like, did Jesus talk about hell? Because that seems like opposite of.
I'll have to go back and check that out. I don't remember
what I thought his message was.
I think he did.
He was like pro hell?
Pro hell, yes. He was like, hey, guys.
He's like, it probably exists. Probably don't.
I think it might have been more in context of like separation from God as hell.
Yeah.
As opposed to like fire and brimstone. There are ghouls down there and
ghouls?
Ghouls.
There are ghouls down there and pitchforks and, a devil.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that even the devil was somewhat of a creation of man.
Yeah.
It's not even really defined as a being in the Bible.
Although there is a story where Jesus meets the devil for like
was that the desert thing?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And they sit down, they have a chat for a while. Little tea time.
But was it an actual being or was it just temptation itself?
Or a chair.
Or a chair.
I don't know.
That looked yummy.
Yeah.
Because it was about food, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was basically like tempting him against like his humanity. So like his deity versus his humanity. So he was like, if you are God, then do these things. And like Jesus is like, no, I don't need to prove myself to you, whatever you are. So yeah.
Do you believe in hell?
I don't know. I don't. I honestly don't know. I don't think so. However, I personally think that there's a lot of like influences of good and bad in the world.
Right.
So there's definitely things that I've like come in contact with in my life that I feel like that person is probably like really given into some not great things. And maybe you should like make a wide berth around that human that's walking down the sidewalk at you.
Right.
But it's got nothing to do with, I think a lot of people might have that reaction around like a homeless person or something like that. But mine's more like somebody like will like seek me out in a crowd sometimes and be like, let me just unload all this like negativity your way. And I'm like, that seems like maybe you're agreeing with a bunch of things that I'm not a fan of. So
yeah,
I don't know.
But yeah, that seems like a version of hell being experienced here, but not necessarily like a belief in like a place of eternal punishment after this.
Yeah, you're observing somebody that's created their own internal hell.
Yeah.
And you're
Right.
like, I don't want that
that
thing
seems
you've
bad.
created.
Yeah. But as far as like the place itself, I think the end result is the same no matter what. You don't want to go there, even if it's just to cease to exist. If that, if you lived like a bad life or whatever, and there's a doctrine that says like the souls are just destroyed. And I was like, well, I mean, you still don't want that. Like if there's a possibility for like ever, if that's like the other alternative, you still don't want people to be destroyed forever. That's a bad thing. Or souls or whatever they are. Tree souls. But
it's also said that like it's God's will that all men know him.
Only men?
Well, you know. Miss Technical Betty over here.
Question.
Which some people use as evidence that there is no hell, because if it's his will that we all know him, then he can get his way.
Which is the thing.
I really don't. Yeah. The idea of hell really bothers me because, like, on the one hand, you're like...
Very convenient.
Yeah, it's convenient.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
No, but it's such a weird thing to be like, there's this all-loving God, but there's conditions, and if you don't meet them, he's going to make you suffer for all eternity. It's like,
well, it's his kingdom, not yours.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you want to believe in that? And also, why do you believe, like, why are you okay with that when there are people across the world who will never hear this story and say these words that you're saying they have to say in order to be saved from hell?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah. I think there was a guy that was in the program with me, the same it was called the DIBIMI, Discipleship, Bible and Ministry Internship.
Wow,
like
that's a
DIBIMI?
Yeah.
DIBIMI.
Lots of acronyms. They like acronyms. But yeah, it's there's this guy that was hung up on there's something that talks about like saying the literal name of Jesus in order to be saved, or like calling on his name. I forget.
Sure.
Again, more paraphrasing, but he was really hung up on that, and I was like, we were in a van going somewhere, like off to we did like a traveling program at one point, so we went to the different colleges like throughout the U.S. So one of them was Yale, and studied with a divinity professor there for a little bit, and then some other like spots here and there. But this guy was really hung up on this idea of like, you have to say Jesus's name. And I was like, well, we're all fucked then, because Jesus is not even his name. That's just like, that's just what we like. That's like the Anglo-Saxon way of saying that. So I was like, if that's what you believe, you're in a rough spot already, my boy.
That amount of consonants and vowels is very important to flow over your vocal cords.
Yeah. I was like, I don't even know his name. Like, I don't speak Arabic or Hebrew or...
You don't even know his birthday.
It's Yahweh. Is it not Yahweh, or is that God?
I don't know. Yahweh is God, ? In Hebrew?
Yeah, we're getting a nod from Angie. Yeah. Verified.
But, yeah.
Check that one.
But it's like, why are you hung up on this detail?
Well, probably because the
scripture
right
is
like, there's no way to the Father except through me. And so he's probably like, you've got to say his name in the name of the Son.
Yeah. And I think there's even one that's more specific, where it's like you have to like call on his name. And I was like, well, if that's what you believe, I think we're already behind the 8 ball a little bit with that. But
yeah,
what if I just think it?
Yeah.
No, you must speak it out loud.
Well, that's kind of
for all of us to know that you're in the club.
Yeah. Say it. Say it.
Louder.
Chant it.
Now babble.
Chant it. Why? I don't
now
know. Now
babble. Now raise your hands.
Can't do it.
Now
the
jump.
Feels weird. I don't know. I can't do it.
No, don't jump. Don't dance. Don't you dare dance. Are you singing? Put that instrument down.
A little bit.
Pick that instrument up.
Is it the Holy Spirit inspired?
Be the best at the instrument.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Get rich. Don't get rich.
Be humble.
At the same time.
Be humble, but you can be... What's that guy's name?
Don't wear that dress, you...
That guy who has an album. I can't even remember his name.
Who, what, where?
Jeff Buckley.
Kardashian husband.
I was way
who
off.
has a God album.
Oh.
Who is...
What?
Yes,
Kanye West.
My brain just deleted his name. Kanye, I don't even know who you are.
What's so funny is...
Kardashians?
I know. I was like, I didn't even think of him when you said that.
But I was trying.
I don't even associate him with them, but yeah, like...
That happens to women all the time.
I was about to say
Caitlyn
Caitlyn Jenner. I was like, what?
My brain totally deleted his name, but I'm fascinated with how many Christians are like so excited about his album.
Yeah.
And he I thought He's not
because
being
he's lending
humble.
his name to the movement. You know what I mean? He's bringing attention to the movement and
the things.
and that's always welcome.
But he's
Yeah.
also promoting himself.
Well, it's
Sure.
the hype, isn't it? It's everybody wants to jump on the hype train.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we can get rich and everything else, which I mean, and it kind of falls into that category for me where there's a passage that talks about, it talks very seriously about judging, where it says like, if like, I basically, again, paraphrasing because it's been a billion years, but if you judge, it's better for you to like tie a millstone around your neck and throw yourself into the ocean because you don't know that person's heart and that person's intent. And that's with everything, both like religion and also even modern movements that do that are just kind of trying to like cover everything up by like covering all the bases. I don't think it does the best when it comes to heart intent for people, because heart intent is what we're all trying to like make sure we don't say or don't do, but you can't know that. You can't know a person's intention without like knowing the core of who they are. So
Right.
I mean, I'm hesitant to say whether or not like Kanye's whole thing is good or not, because I can't like peel him open and look at his heart and be like, where's that coming from, Kanye, my person?
Right.
Sure.
Like, is that a good spot or is it not? And then that includes like all the other people that might be jumping on that train too. And I don't know if their heart is in a good spot, then great. And if it's just relying on prosperity being like the thing that like drives that whole religion forward, my question is, what happens when the prosperity gets cut out from under you and you're asked to die for that religion? Then are you so like pumped about that thing, or are you like, wait, the gold I was fine with, but this dying over here for reasons, I don't know about that. I don't know if I believe that much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So not a martyr, but
I'll
get
yeah,
rich.
but I'll take the gold.
Yeah.
So that's the part where everything, those are my questions for those humans is, does it still like impact you as much if it's not popular, if it's not making you the dollars or anything like that?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And everyone's also still human, so they're
Yeah.
going to
Right.
be flawed.
True.
Even in their pursuit to
True.
honor God or Jesus in their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
It is-
humans.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot his name.
Who's a guy?
Fair.
Does
Just
things.
my brain was like,
It's got shoes.
you don't know.
The Matrix is breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing.
Does things. Kardashian husband, that's my favorite thing though. That is seriously my
He
favorite.
would die right now. He literally
It's
just...
fine. You
Oh,
know,
man.
we could all use a little.
What are you laughing at?
I'm sure he'll watch this and we'll hear.
You
his
talking about
opinion.
President Kanye?
Oh God. Well,
yeah.
that's why I wonder if it's leading.
What are
Not
you
that I
laughing
want to
at?
get political.
Yeah.
That clip's amazing.
The humans.
You met your wife in this How do I? What was
Yeah.
that acronym?
I met her in the BI, which is the second year of that, when she was just going into the program. So she was in the discipleship
program?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so they met at a church. They met at like a high school, and there was like a series of lockers all the way down the side, and I opened the door, and all the way at the very end there was like a cute girl, and I just walked straight into the lockers with my skateboard, and that was like the door was still opening. I was like, it's like hopefully nobody saw that, and then I walked down the hall and like had my eyes like locked on her the whole time, and then I got up to her talking with these two other people. One of them was my roommate at the time, who I didn't like at all. And he said something about me, and I was just like, yeah, I guess that's who I am. And the girl like poofed out of my brain. And
the
then
girl
that was
that's
the end
now
of it.
your wife.
Yeah, the girl that's now my wife. And then I just like walked away from that situation. But that was like we both had that like moment at the same time. Like she saw me come in and luckily didn't see me hit the lockers. So
Yeah.
there's that. but then we had that like kind of I don't know, Disney moment with the noises and the
Slow
butterflies
motion.
flying
Yeah.
everywhere, and all of a sudden we're both animated, and I'm like, what's this about? But
So you guys had like a common spiritual belief or background.
Backbone.
yeah,
Backbone, I guess,
And
yeah.
her family was like the ones that were kind of running that thing, or like heavily involved in that. Her uncle and aunt were like the kind of two of the main key figures in that. So they had a similar approach and view to life and religion and God and everything that I did. So that I think definitely helped that connection, I guess. 'Cause we all try to do our best to not judge the humans and accept everybody and leave room for chairs randomly talking, because how am I to know that's not God? Like, it starts talking to everybody like, that's an idol. I'm like, I don't know. If you claimed, like, if you think
there was a
that
burning
he made
bush.
everything, yeah, see, but if you claim that he made everything on the planet, then who am I to say that this chair just can't talk to me and be like, I'm this thing. I'm like
And is in all things.
Yeah, see,
So including you and me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Which seems like what Jesus was saying too, but
All the
maybe
humans.
people idolized
Him
him over
a little bit.
the God in all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big thing that bothered
Just very
me.
controversial.
Yeah, very controversial about Christianity, or at least my experience was like there was always a deflection to authority, like your pastor, your leaders, like whoever like supposedly has this like greater knowledge of God and the Bible, but
Sure.
I think it's all in us, and I think that you can find that in a lot of what Jesus was saying too,
Sure.
like the kingdom of heaven is within, and like we don't need anyone to tell us. I mean,
Yeah.
it's good to like expose yourself to wisdom and to like talk to other people, but if you're just like stuck in a bubble of like only hearing from leaders who are like convinced that they're experts in
Yeah.
this very specific subject matter,
That you need them.
you need them,
Yeah.
then your growth is kind of stunted. And also it's like very, what's the opposite of empowering? Disempowering?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disenfranchised. Just
Sure.
So a big part of me like stepping away from like organized religion was like finding out that I could teach myself
Yeah.
and that I didn't need to defer to anyone.
Sure. I think there is something to be said, sure, like about kind of a space that's set aside for something that is sacred, and or I don't know, just the idea of learning from people that have come before, and I always took that stuff with a grain of salt. So if I asked a question, then I would listen to like a multitude of different answers from as many different like humans that I could get it from. So I'd be like, oh, that's this, like, given all of you saying things now, I think maybe this is the best combination of that thing that will make like the most sense in life. But so I think there is something to be said about mentorship and things like that. Or just learning from people that have been on the planet like hundreds of years more than me sometimes.
Well,
or at least
how
100.
old are these people you're talking to?
I mean, super old. Super old.
5 years older than me.
7,000. I don't know. How long do humans live? I don't know anymore. I like hit 35 recently, and I was like, that's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I'm 35.
I feel exactly the same. That's what
Yeah.
they don't tell you.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
you'll understand when you get older. That's just like the trick.
No, you
You're
won't.
like, oh, that's the joke.
I
get
don't
it now.
understand.
I get it.
I still don't
It's a
understand.
cosmic joke.
Getting older is weird.
Yeah. But
How old do you feel?
I feel the same
The same as when?
as
Just the same.
always. Just except I feel like more like painful
Oh,
at times. Like there's parts of me that I'm like, oh, that's not as working
Physically
as it
like
used
painful
to be.
or-
physically?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Emotionally.
but like the same thing is like I feel like mostly the same, but probably a little bit more. Like there's moments of like disenfranchisement, I guess, or what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But moments of the disillusionment where you kind of like have that like veil like pull back a little bit. So
Yeah.
that's my biggest understanding from getting older is like the idea of things not quite being the same as I remember, I guess. Or I don't know. There's a word called Haraeth, and I don't remember where it comes from. It sounds very Icelandic or something, but it means longing for a home that never existed, or that is not there, is no longer there, or never existed. And I think that's a really cool
Well, it's heartbreaking.
thing. I know,
Yeah.
but isn't it awesome, dude?
But yeah, I mean, it's like I understand that feeling.
yeah.
Kind of like a deep loneliness.
Yeah.
And what is that for? Is it for something that we can't even know? Like
Yeah.
first of all, where were we before this?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hey, what was I?
Yeah.
Was I a lizard?
Like the odds of us being here, Gary Vee says this all the time. What is it? Like billions to one.
Yeah.
Like that we are alive.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're all alive at the same time, like it's crazy odds.
Yeah.
And we don't know what was going on before we got here in terms of like what we were.
Yeah. Just, like,
And
it
so
was a
maybe
thing.
that's where like this loneliness comes from. It's like a longing for, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm making this up.
Yeah. You know, mine
I mean,
was-
it could be a longing for like that consistent realization that we're not separate from God. Because maybe this human
belonging.
experience feels like a separation from God, even though it isn't.
yeah.
But sometimes having this flesh suit
Yeah.
is like this evidence that we are separate.
Well,
I understand
especially when we're like being told from whatever dogma, our peer group, or like culture that we have to be a certain way to be like accepted or cool or right or good. That can make you feel as if you don't belong. And that does feel like very lonely and separate. And like, I think a lot of people feel that way, especially now with like the internet, and we're constantly like comparing ourselves to other people and like not even the genuine versions of them, just what they're putting out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're like
This is what I
making
want you to
ourselves
see.
feel bad that way. And then also from all these other ways, the news or church or whatever. And I think we all have this longing to belong as we are.
Yeah.
And that's why I love having conversations like these, because like that's when I feel most like I belong, like talking about real things with other people who also are like, oh I feel this. What's the word?
Yeah.
The
Oh,
H word?
Harayeth.
I feel Harayeth too. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I don't feel it right now that we're talking about how we both feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I feel that.
Where did you come across that word?
That was somebody had it tattooed on their arm, and a friend of mine asked what it meant, and then she told him, and then he told me. So it's like friend of an acquaintance.
Sure.
Like a little
of a person.
telephone.
Yeah. But
That's beautiful.
yeah, but then I looked it up and I was like, that's awesome. I kind of want to make everything to that. But because I understand that feeling, I think. And that's when I first left my house at 18. I was like on the road to Wisconsin to do this discipleship thing. And I stopped at like a couple of places along the way. And I just remember feeling this like crushing, like, this is it. Like I can go back to my house, but it's not my house anymore. This is like a new thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think that does, like, we all get waves of that, especially as we're older. Like, I don't have a home. I don't feel like I have a hometown really. Like, I have people that I
Right,
grew
true.
up with, but my mom doesn't live where I grew up. Like, I don't have a house to visit.
yeah.
And it's weird to like look back and be like, where? That's kind of why we made our show Home. It's like, what is home? Is it
Yeah.
a place? Is it like the people you feel at home with? Because if it's like the house you grew up in, like, am I homeless? You know what I mean? If I don't have that.
If it burns down. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, what am I? And I think that it attaches to people in general, because like
Yeah.
I've noticed people react very, very strongly when you counter what they've like built up like all of reality around. And to me, I've spent my entire life questioning all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like I think I don't know. It's funny to see like when you start to rattle those foundations of people and they'll like feel like they're falling apart. And I was like, dude, trust me, you'll be fine. Just let it all fall. Like it's mostly all usable again. You'll just build the same thing basically. It'll just toss out a few little bits that are no longer like all that relevant. So
Right.
and for me, one of those bits I think was the more organized style of religion. So I still very much believe almost the same stuff for the most part. And I think religion is I think it saves it does something that there's not a fill for right now, where it kind of like is that there's a psychological study they did on these kids where they made them play this game where if you cheated, you wouldn't get this like prize at the end, and then the person would leave the room, and the kids would like debate whether or not they were going to cheat. And if they didn't think anybody's watching, of course they cheated. But if they sit in a chair and said that like, I don't know, Invisible Sally is sitting in that chair, then the kids were like infinitely less likely to cheat or like do something like because Sally's watching, you know? So for me, there's kind of like, there are some benefits to, like everybody's now talking about conscientiousness and things. And if you did religion, like any sort of right, there should be an element of conscientiousness just built into it. So that's some of the pieces that some people are looking for. Is like you can get some of those in some of these very good spots, but you have to go in with like a grain of sand or like a grain of salt and be like, I don't know if I'm going to just drink all of this in without thinking, and then just get indoctrinated by it.
Right.
Or if I'm
Right.
going to kind of see like, all right, what's the world about, and like how can I use this stuff to, I don't know, better benefit me as a person. But I don't know
or not hurt others.
Right.
Yeah, but
Love
when-
others and love myself.
yeah, and when that invisible kind of watcher went away from the mainstream, then the like fallout that we're seeing now from it is pretty significant, that I see anyway, as far as people just kind of doing whatever they want regardless. And
Well, I heard somebody say this, like, we're only as good as we have to be.
yeah.
And so in that situation, the kid didn't have a threatening, invisible person.
Yeah.
But when you have this image of God that may or may not smite you,
Spite and smite.
spite you,
Spite.
then you're going to be better. Is that
Yeah, I think.
But it's like such a tricky thing and like such
Sure.
a fine line
Sure.
because like
I think
you
people
also
are good
don't want,
regardless of the invisible person.
and you
Yeah.
also don't want to create like self-loathing because people are believing that they're being judged for like totally normal human things.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And like maybe part of the backlash right now is that like so many of us were so indoctrinated with this very judgmental God, which just feels very like once you are able to recognize that as an adult does make you want to be like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like I want everything opposite of that because this doesn't feel like love.
We saw it debilitate a generation. I mean, I think I can speak from my personal experience. Like, I saw it negatively affect the mental health of a generation older than me
Sure.
in ways that
yeah.
I don't want to experience.
Sure.
So, okay, what was wrong?
Yeah.
What can we take away that was good, and what can we throw away that was not helpful? It was
Yeah.
actually harmful.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a helpful thing is love your neighbor.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think that will always be helpful because like
Sure.
we all should absolutely like look at others and treat them like how we would want to be treated. That's like an awesome thing that came from this book.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that came from it that is like has been manipulated or is like very judgmental and hateful. And I don't
Yeah.
think those things are helpful.
Well, and that's the hard part, is to be able to separate the good from like what Micah mentioned earlier. Just like humans will be humans, so it's separating the good from like people using the things for their own advantage, I guess. And and knowing when that's even happening sometimes, because I think some people go through their whole lives like accidentally manipulating, and then they like are like, shoot, like apparently I've been doing this all wrong.
Right. But they're probably manipulated
Right,
to
it was
be
a learned
manipulators.
behavior. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
They're
tough.
groomed to be manipulators.
Or they just had a very difficult situation to live in, and they had their survival required
Yeah.
manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a thing. And I think part of for me, the hardest thing about that hard line is that perfectionism is subjective when it comes to your idea of what is perfectly right, which is why we get all these doctrines and all these like people believing all these different things, and why that like their way is like the best and only way. And that's it ends up coming down to this idea of like them trying to be so good that they like outrun the bad. And at some point you'll like gain enough of those outrunnings that you'll like dodge hell or whatever it is that's coming for you.
Like a video game.
And that's not, I don't think that's the point. I think they missed the entire point. The point is to make it so that your character response is when there's an opportunity, I'm at the grocery store to take something that somebody didn't ring up. It's not even going to be a question in my mind. I'm going to be like, you didn't ring that up. Like, go ahead and like make me pay for that, please.
I've done both.
I've also done both. And again, depending on the situation that I'm in.
It's like that
and
salmon
the part
is
of life.
ridiculously overpriced.
Also,
so
I just had
I'm
a
gonna take
series
this
of
one.
things that wiped out all of my money, so I will take that free salmon. Thank you, universe.
Yeah.
But
Thank you, God. This one's from you. I knew it.
this one's from you. Oh man.
They were gonna throw it out anyways tonight. I know.
Yeah, nobody actually eats salmon. Are you kidding me? Oh man.
Well, we're all gray. I mean, that's why we're doing this podcast. Like not that we're like reclaiming the word backsliders, but what's ironic about it is like the word's been used judgmentally as like for like people who are falling back into their ways, but it's like falling back, like everyone is not perfect.
It's a daily thing.
Everyone's messing up
like
every day. Like we are humans, we are gray. Even the best humans have done some shitty things.
Yeah.
Like we're all, you know, works in progress, and like perfection is a lie that's unattainable. And like we can strive to be people who take care of each other and to like follow Jesus's example, at least when I don't know what he said about hell. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look that up. It makes my heart sad.
I don't know.
That you don't know about hell.
Yeah. That's it.
No,
it makes my heart sad
I hope
too.
that he didn't like say something that was like a condition, because what I remember of like reading the Red, it was all like love.
I don't think there's really conditions. The only times that I know that he got like really pissed off at people was when they were like
money at the temple.
There was money at the temples, and then people that were like perfectionistic and trying to lord that over other people.
Yeah, praying very loudly.
So it was the like funnily enough, it's like what I perceive a lot of mainstream Christianity to be, which is this like us versus them kind of like, we're pious, we're the ones that are like going to this thing. Now you, the one that's like below, is obviously below me since you're down there.
You're killing babies.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Be
like,
no, sorry.
Easy. Because we got to wrap it up, and
that's a can of worms.
That will have to be another podcast or not. Maybe when we're brave enough.
Yeah.
But I did have a question.
We got time.
For you, because you've always been like a questioner, and I feel very inspired by that, because I'm like trying to use my voice more, and when I have questions, say them. But I wondered if like you could look back on your life and like say that there's like kind of if there's a truth that you wish you could like tell your younger self about kind of what we've been talking about. But maybe you've always like known.
Well, you've said you've kind of like gone through this process of like burning it down and building it back up, and you're you're somewhat similar. I mean, I'm assuming you consider yourself a Christian, or do you?
I mean, I'll say that as long as it's qualified a little bit. I think.
I know, isn't that frustrating though?
Yeah.
As long as it's my doctrine of Christianity,
and not yours, because reasons.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
the Church of Caleb.
But a truth, I think. I think it's something that I've always tried to operate out of anyway, but I think it's just hold everything openly as you can, because you don't have it all figured out. And the second that you do have it figured out, that's when you realize that there's like, I haven't turned this thing over. There's actually a universe under there that I don't have understood yet. And that's how it's been. Like, I love information in general, and that's how it's been with like every aspect of my life. It's like, just like by the time I think I'm like starting to get it figured out a little bit, there's just like whole planets that I haven't even looked at yet. And
it's refreshing, because I feel like it's a personality type. Like there's the personality type of religious beliefs that are like, this is it. If you don't believe this, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And then there's the personality type that's like, I think this is it. I'm looking at it still.
Yeah.
I have questions.
Yeah.
I think I want this to be it.
Yeah.
And that is like a much more like a approachable and maybe more authentic, sincere, like understanding of what I feel is like maybe not comprehensible in our human experience. It's like we're trying to like wrap the universe in this brain of ours. Like, stop. Like, stop like torturing yourself. Like, stop doing
why
that.
Are you doing
We're only
that?
using a small part of it. We're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get it right.
And maybe with the 98% we still wouldn't. Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. But that's like everything.
We'll kill
in life
for
is
it.
That way. Yeah,
we'll kill for it.
Like,
well, my 2% is worth killing you.
Oh man, but that's what everything in life is just this understanding that like it all is changing and moving, and even the things that I think I have perfectly figured out, I get up to it and I'm like, this is not at all what I thought it would be. So I don't know. I think that would be hilarious if we died and there was just like some dude named Stan or something that was like at a desk and that's just it. and then you get to be the next Stan. And I'd be like, that's cosmically funny. But I'm going to go ahead and sit down and be Stan.
Yeah.
Or Pam.
Yeah, Pam. Pam Stan. Maybe it's
Pam
just
Stan.
all the Stans, everyone.
Yeah.
But I liked what you said, holding openness. Is that how you said it?
Yeah, I think just holding everything open and realizing that things
can't-
can and should
yeah.
change,
You can't,
and it's not.
like,
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
This isn't belief.
grasp it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got like a weird tendency to try to hold everything tight.
Well, this
But
is
that's
faith.
like-
I feel like this is faith. Is just like
Yeah,
being like,
yeah,
it's not up to me.
yeah.
It's not up to me.
And everything
It never
we see on the planet
was.
is like is somebody's like it's somebody's imagination that's like in the real world now. Like all the items that we use. So it's weird that everybody wants to like, is this going to be a sure thing, or like, can I get my hands around this? Like, no. When did you ever get that idea? Because like my experience with life is that it's all over the place, and you get it figured out as it comes. But
Right.
I don't know.
I like that.
Release.
Control.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And, release the idea that you can ever have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Be open.
Delete.
Thank you for being on
Yeah,
our
appreciate
podcast.
this.
This was
thank
an
you
awesome
for
conversation.
having me. I like it.
Caleb's an actor and filmmaker and creator person that you should follow on. Do you want to tell them how they should find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I think I'm on that one.
You
Yes.
I'm on that one.
are. I follow you.
Prophet Loon.
Prophet Loon.
Somebody that sees the future, not somebody that makes gold.
And we'll tag him in the description.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
Thank you so much for listening. If you are listening, we're trying to do better CTAs. Please subscribe to this podcast, rate and review it, so we can show up and other
Comment.
people can hear. Comment.
Do
Share it with your
Subscribe.
friends. Thanks, guys.
Whatever it is. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
No, I'm not saying that it wasn't real. I'm just saying that you made me feel bad. Don't try making me a better deal. I'm done with you and I'm fine with that, and that's that.